As you guys know, we've been protesting all day right under that tree. And now that we've put everything away, you've got the fake news media. The fake media wants to come out after we've put everything away. And of course, where do they face their camera? In the same spot that we were posted at. Because that's why they call them fake news. They're fake news for a reason. It's because they report on pre-approved stories, the narrative. If it doesn't match the narrative, it's not getting reported to the public. That's why America is where it's at today, and it's headed in the wrong direction. Because people like that, you see that camera? People like that refuse to do their job properly. They refuse to hold these government officials accountable. They refuse. Now, if people like that would report on stories as they occur, we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't have 7 murders at the hands of correctional officers inside of a private jail. Private jail. Imagine. A private jail with no oversight. And the only oversight they have is the conflict of interest. The Commonwealth Attorney. Right over here. The Commonwealth Attorney overlooks the safety and concerns of pretrial detainees. Where is that normal? Where is that okay? For the person prosecuting, we're expecting that person to hold the safety and concerns of the person they're prosecuting. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't have a positive and negative at the same time. It's a direct conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest. I mean, you don't have to be educated. You don't have to be knowledgeable. You don't really have to know anything to know that the prosecutor that is wanting the pretrial detainee to take a plea deal, she's not going to hold their best interest. When they're getting tortured inside of a jail, when they're getting abused, when they're getting beaten, you think the prosecutor's going to say, wait, don't beat them up. Don't beat them up. Give them food, give them back their clothing, make sure they have commissary, make sure they're in contact with their families. You think the prosecutor is going to do that? No. She's going to say, let them get abused, let them get beaten up. I don't care. The worse their conditions of confinement are, the more likely they are to take my plea deal. Okay? And that's what's happening here in Prince William County. And we're calling it out. We're calling it out for what it is. In Prince William County, Manassas, Virginia, you have a prosecutor who is overlooking the jail. A prosecutor overlooking the conditions of confinement to these pretrial detainees. And 7 of them have ended up dead. And every pretrial detainee has been held past the 6-month speedy trial rule. They've bypassed the speedy trial for these inmates. Why is that so? And why is that not a story for the media to cover? Okay, the media is right there. They've been sitting in their car for the past 3-4 hours. We've been sitting here for almost 6 hours. And they would not bring the camera out until we put everything away. Okay? People are waking up to the reality that the news is fake news. It's fake news for a reason. It's fake news because you have people in power paying and pre-approving stories to be told. They don't report on the real news. They don't report on what's really going on here. Have you heard of a news report that says 7 pretrial detainees murdered at a private jail? Have you heard that story? No, you won't hear it from them. You're not going to hear it from the news media because they're paid to do a specific job, and that's to make Amy Ashworth, who's a Democrat, their job is to make those that are corrupt, like Jacqueline Smith, like Peter Newsham, like Peter Miletus. They're paid big money to not report on the truth and to make these people come out to the public in a good light. Who's in charge of these 7 bodies? Who's held accountable? Nobody. 0. Who's held accountable for the 7 bodies that came out of that building? 0. And I'll ask it again. Who is held accountable for the 7 bodies, 7 pretrial detainees that came out of that building in a body bag? 0. Not in this county. Not in Manassas. Not in Manassas. They won't do that in Manassas. They don't hold people accountable. They just murder you and they throw the story under the rug because of media like that. Because of news media like that refuse to report on the truth. They refuse to report that inmates are getting sexually assaulted. They refuse to report that inmates are being stripped naked, left in a cell to rot.
There is a new case.
They refuse.
There is a new case.
They refuse.
New inmate found dead.
Look at that. Fairfax County. Inmate John Boos, 37 years old, found unresponsive. And the county says right away, immediately they say no foul play. How is that okay? How is that normal? How is that? These people right here, that news media, they should be in Fairfax reporting on that inmate that was found dead. Okay? 7, that's 8 bodies. 8 bodies. Found unresponsive, no foul play. And the media will not report on it. The media refuses to report on it. Okay, I think people need to hold these news media outlets, these government tyrants, these tyrant officials, they need to hold them accountable. Okay, it's voting time now, and people are begging for votes. Begging for votes. Every name you see on there, before November, you should make an email and send that person an email and say, what have you done about the murders happening inside the jail of people that are presumed innocent? They haven't been found guilty. What have you done about it? What, in your role as a wannabe government official, what have you done for this community? What have you done for these 8 families now who have lost a loved one who is presumed innocent by the Constitution? In America, you are presumed innocent. That's America's law. Okay? We have a Constitution. We have a Bill of Rights. We have rights in this country. If you're accused, you are presumed innocent until the prosecutor finds you guilty in a court of law. In a court of law. But not in Manassas. In Manassas, as soon as you are charged, you are presumed guilty and you are tortured inside the jail until you take a plea deal or you're carried out in a body bag. Those are the 2 options you get in Manassas. Take a plea deal or you're carried out in a body bag. One of the 2. For the 7 that were carried out here, they weren't so lucky. They didn't take that plea deal. And because they didn't take the plea deal, they were tortured and they were left to rot. And now they're dead. And who's accountable? Ask Amy Ashworth. Ask Chief Newsham. Ask the jail superintendent, Peter Miletus, who just resigned his job. He resigned early. As soon as the story of Juan Campos hit the media, he was nowhere to be found. Look up the news article. Look up the news clip from Juan Campos. When they asked the jail for their response, Peter Miletus was nowhere to be found. And now he shows up out of nowhere after 8 months and says, I'm resigning. I'm done. In the next 5 days, I'm resigning. I'm out of here. Okay? 7 bodies and the superintendent resigns and the media doesn't think it's a story? Come on now.